and it's Monday. I hope everybody is having a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. And let me just put a little bit of color right there. Forgot about that before coming on. And so, yes, happy Memorial Day to everyone. Many thanks to the men and women whom have served and made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms and safety and allow us to have a Memorial Day. A lot of people tend to forget that. And so, and despite the condition that we find our country in at this time, many thanks still for the freedoms that we still do have and our safety that they protect. And so, got some people popping in. We have Shelby. Hello, Shelby. Yes. Thank you, everybody. And we have Irene here. Hello, Irene. And we have Chill with Carrion. She is here. Hello, Carrie. Good to see you again. So I'll give it a few minutes. So I know there may be some other shows going on this afternoon. I know there's one on Selena's channel in half an hour. And just that I ask those if people, jump back and forth to channels to catch shows. If you do request a reading, I just ask that you be present for the reading. It's much easier to read for somebody to get feedback and to be in touch with their energy. And it's just a politeness that's offered to the reader, who happens to be moi. So we have we had our high today of 78, and so we got some rain moving in and some storms. We're hoping that we don't get any fires started tonight because it's been very dry here. So, but we're supposed to be getting some rain. To see you, I'm saying, there's Busy Bee. Well, that's good. So tonight, that's right. You are. I'm trying to remember where you are, Carrie. You are in England. So I remember Sandy was here, and he was mentioning Devonshire. So I believe you are one of our neighbors across the pond in the UK. So good to see you. Yeah, so it's going to be like 10, 11 o'clock your time. So I appreciate you being here. And so, well, we've got 4 people here in chat. Bristol. I'll try to remember that because I got to visit Bristol, Rhode Island when I was younger. So I'll just remember Bristol, England. Taking a sip. So today I had an idea, and I'm still going to talk about these ladies. But a young lady popped into my mind today. There's a couple of women from history. Seeing that it's Memorial Day, I wanted to kind of look at women, who sacrificed much and risked their lives, and some who we have lost. And this young lady still brings me to tears every time I see her picture. Because I was living in Arizona when she passed. And I remember how devastated we all were, especially up in Flagstaff, because I lived in northern Arizona where the Hopi Reservation is. Yes, it is Memorial Day here for the states, remembering those who have served. And I think it's Bank Day. Am I right? I remember something in one of my book here, it mentioned it's a bank holiday in UK. So I hope you are having a nice, or you had a nice holiday yourself, my dear. And so I wanted to talk about first Lorianne Payastawa. I have a picture of her here. I don't know if anybody remembers her, but she was one of the first casualties in the war that Bush Jr. decided to start back in 2003. She was born December 14th. She was a Saggy, like her even more. She was born in 1979, and she was killed during an ambush on March 23rd. So she was a United States Army soldier killed during the Iraq War, a member of the Quartermaster Corps. She died in the same Iraqi attack in which fellow soldiers Shoshana Johnson and Piestewa's friend Jessica Lynch were injured. And if people remember, Jessica was abducted by I think it was the Taliban, and she survived. And I think over the years she has mentioned. Here, let me pull my hair up. Over the years, she has mentioned that there's a bit of a survivor's guilt for surviving, and that's a lot of times common in situations like this. So Lori was a Hopi, first Native American woman to die in combat while serving the U.S. military, and the first woman in the U.S. military killed in the Iraq War. Arizona's Piestewa Peak is named in her honor, and I believe they did name one of the highways as well. Lori was born in Tuba City, which is about a good hour or so from Flagstaff upwards, to Terry Piestewa and Priscilla Percy Baca. Her father is Hopi, Native American, and her mother is Mexican American. So the Piestewa family had a long military tradition. Her paternal grandfather served in the U.S. Army in the European theater of World War II, and her father, Terry Piestewa, was drafted in the U.S. Army in September 1965 and served a tour of duty in the Vietnam War before he returned home in 1967. The Piestewa family reside in Tuba City, a town in the Navajo Indian Reservation in Coconino County, where I lived. So you have the Navajo Nation, and right in the middle is the Hopi Reservation. As a child, she was given the Hopi name Kotsa Hanmana. I hope I pronounced that properly and with all respect, and which means white bear girl. Her surname is derived from a Hopi language root meaning water pooled on the desert by a hard rain. Thus, Piestewa translates loosely as the people who live by the water. Hello, Ginger. What the fay? So Piestewa was killed during an ambush in Naziraya. I never learned how to really pronounce those names. Naziraya in Iraq. Her company was traveling a convoy through the desert and was meant to bypass Nazir. Yep, I gotta learn how to say this. Naziria in southern Iraq during the opening days of the war. But the convoy got lost and ran into an ambush on March 23rd. She did come under a torrent of fire as she drove at high speed, evading Iraqi fire until a rocket propelled grenade hit her Humvee. Piestewa, Johnson, and Lynch all survived the crash with injuries, while 3 other soldiers in the Humvee died. They were taken prisoner along with 4 others, with Piestewa dying of her wounds soon after. So yeah, I'm not going to go into, you can look up, but I wanted to sing that to Memorial Day and remembering our men and women. She always brings tears to my eyes when I see her because she was young. She had so much to live for, and to die just within the opening days. So thanks, George Jr., for that wonderful war where we lost so many men and women. So she was given a, from what I understand here, a Purple Heart, or to her family, I think. So yeah, I wanted to mention her for those who came in a little late, a little later, excuse me. I just wanted to share again her picture. And this was Lori. So, all righty. So let me close out Lori's. And before I get on to the other ones, but let's say hi. You're proud to be a Navy brat. My Shan was a Seabee, which is a part of the Navy. So let's see, everyone's saying hi. So we got the Sassy Boo here. And yep, bank holiday, and she did have a beautiful day. So that's wonderful. Thank you for being here. Sorry for the loss. Yeah, just all of us around the world, the men and women who have died for, our government's ideology or whatever, And what the fay? I was like, what's Ginger doing in chat? And then I thought, wait a minute, Memorial Day, no school. How have you been, Chica? It's been a while. It's been a while. Let's see. Everyone's saying hello. And Jack's throwing up the deets on everybody. That would be beautiful. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I don't have a candle nearby, but that's beautiful. What hurts me the most is the many people who died trying to fight for what's right, and this is what our country turned into. Yep, I hear you. I think she was a mom too, as well. Jax, your uncle was a CB. I'll have to tell Shan. You may have already shared that. I'm not sure. He's still in Texas, left home, and never returned. Nope, you saw what I said. That was a war based on a fake premises, a false premises. 2 more days of work, then 2 weeks off for summer. Yahoo! Ginger will have to do something. All righty. So lightening up a little bit, let's go into the Hello Girls of World War I. And the Hello Girls were 223 American women who served as bilingual telephone operators for the U.S. Army Signal Corps during World War I, playing a crucial role in military communications on the Western Front. So when the States entered World War I in 1917, the Army faced severe communication challenges due to language barriers and the complexity of coordinating with Allied forces. General John J. Pershing requested skilled women telephone operators who were fluent in both English and French to improve battlefield communications. Thousands of women applied, but only 223 were selected after rigorous testing, background checks, and training at the Signal Corps facility in Camp Franklin, Maryland. These women were evaluated on skills comparable to those of Army officer candidates and had to demonstrate loyalty and discretion due to the sensitive nature of their work. So their service, they were deployed to France in March of 1918, establishing telephone exchanges in Paris over 70 French cities and key British command locations such as London, Southampton, and Winchester. Hey girl, what's going on, Allison? wish Anthony a happy Memorial Day. I know he's still with us, but I thank all of our men and women today for their service and their sacrifices that they've made for us. So give Anthony my best. So let's see. They were often working 12-hour shifts. Let's see, what else do we have here? They operated switchboards that connected frontline troops with headquarters, relayed artillery orders, coordinated troop movements, and informed pilots of takeoff schedules. So that was Chief Operator Grace Banker led the unit and received the Distinguished Service Medal for her leadership. So these are the women we don't really get to hear about or remembered anymore. But you know what? Despite all of their contributions, which were crucial and critical with the war, when the girls returned home after the war, there was little recognition and they were given no veterans benefits. It was not until 1977 that with the passage of the GI Bill Improvement Act that they were officially granted veteran status and military discharges. Their service demonstrated women's capability in military roles, traditionally reserved for men, and influenced the integration of women into the U.S. Armed Forces during later conflicts. Let's see. So I know that they started, they were working when they answered with the word, what they were saying, hello. So when certain calls were made, the word hello, that's how they were known as, that they were the hello girls. That was like their phrase, their secret password phrase. And let's see, there's little less other. So it does say here, the hello girls were pioneers in military communications and exemplified courage, skill, and dedication. They not only ensured effective coordination on the battlefield, but also paved the way for future generations of women in the military, leaving a lasting impact on both military operations and gender equality in service. And for those who came in a little bit later, I had actually started the show off talking about Lori Paestua, the Hopi and Mexican female soldier that we lost at the beginning of the Iraqi war back in 2003. And so we have a basis for that, but I'll go ahead and check and read more up on them. I thought that was fascinating. And so the ones I had a thought of for last, I had the other night that I was mentioning. So this is World War II, yes. So during World War II, and we're switching now to the Soviet Union. I'm not sure if any of you ever heard of the Soviet Night Witches. And thank you. And the same for Shan, you got it. So the Soviet Night Witches. So we're going to take a bit of a couple of pictures here of these ladies. It was during World War II when, the Nazis were going after Russia as well. So the members of the 588th Night Bomber Regiment, nicknamed the Night Witches, and we'll explain why in a minute, lined up and received orders from a bombing mission. So this was one of the pictures. So a little story. So what was one? Okay, how do they write this? What was the most terrifying sounds a German soldier on the Russian front could hear in the dead of night? A sound that would turn his heart to jelly. The soft whooshing of the wind off the struts of a night witch jerry-rigged biplane bomber, described as the eerie sound of a witch's broom as it quietly glided in to drop its payload of bombs. So these women, and I actually done a show. Allison, I don't know if you remember on the old channel, I used to read with Heather. I cannot remember what her channel's name was. Her and I haven't really talked in a long time, but her and I were doing the shows where we would bring, a remarkable woman or women, and we would talk about them and pull cards on them. And I think it was her that, or we decided to do the Night Witches. And so the story behind that is that these women wanted to help serve their country and fight the Nazis. And the men got the better planes. And the women were given these, like it says here, they were rigged. They could, easily fall apart. I mean, they were jerry rigged, because they were women. They got the least, the least well maintained planes. I mean, they got basically the bottom of the barrel. And so who were these women? I don't know, who were these Night Witches? They were the all-women pilots of Russia's 588th Night Bomber Aviation Regiment. In World War II, American women such as the Wasps, which I've never heard of, supported the war by ferrying and testing planes. But the Night Witches were the first women military pilots, hey Jan, in the 20th century to directly engage an enemy in combat. The pilots weren't the only women in the 588th. All the members of the 588th were women, strictly women, including the navigators, the ground crews, and support staff. The Night Witches, were organized by Major Marina Raskova, who was essentially Russia's equivalent to our Amelia Earhart. Women pilots, though, weren't unusual in the Soviet Union. Flying was popular in the 1930s, and thousands of women belonged to flying clubs. But when Germany invaded Russia in 1941, Russian women weren't allowed in the Soviet Air Force, even though they were allowed on the front lines in the army. Raskova received a slew of letters from women protesting the prohibition. After all, if women were allowed to fight alongside men on the ground, why not in the air too? And this is Marina Raskova. And despite how people feel about Stalin and the communism, these women had, talk about grit. So Joseph was one of Raskova's admirers. She showed him the letters and convinced him. So she took all these letters that the women were writing and brought them to him and convinced him to have the Soviet Air Force accept women as the combat pilots. Women rushed to enlist. Some were integrated into regiments to fight alongside male pilots. So Stalin also authorized the creation of 3 all-women fighting groups: the 586th Fighter Aviation Regiment, the 587th Bomber Aviation Regiment, and the 588th Night Bomber Aviation Regiment. Thousands of women enlisted. Around 400 were accepted for each regiment. And so they had to go through universities, late teens, 20s, spent intensive year of training, learning not just how to fly, but to navigate and maintain the aircraft. And so without going into the full history, these women, again, were handed down, the most, not the most, but the least safe aviation. I mean, they were given the planes that had been falling apart. They might have been old. A lot of them risked dropping their bombs and not being able to return because of how rickety and how jerry-rigged these planes were. But these women, no matter what the country, no matter what these women were courageous. They were brave. They believed in what they were fighting for. And so, yeah. And I do remember reading that Marina did get a certain Medal of Honor. So here we go. So unfortunately, there were enough modern planes to go around. So they were given the out of date Poly, Polikarpov PO-2 biplanes that were primarily used as crop dusters and training planes. The pilot sat up front, and the navigator, who also was the bombardier or bombardier, sat in the rear. The plane was like a death trap waiting to spring. Some night witches likened the rickety PO-2 to a coffin with wings because the plane was made of plywood with canvas stretched over it. If a tracer bullet struck the plane, it could easily burst into the flames. So the plane's top speed was 90 miles per hour, and it could carry only 2 bombs under each wing. So this is, and they're doing all this under the cover of darkness, and they carried no parachutes because they flew so close to the ground, and parachutes also added extra weight. So they were going in bare bones into this. Just curious, what is the source you're reading from? It is, I believe it's the Wright Museum of World War II. It's long, so I'm trying to pick to get the idea and their story across. So yeah, these were some, excuse my language, these were some tough bitches, man, I'm telling you. And so being made of wood and canvas, the plane didn't show up on German radars or infrared indicators. At top speed of the PO-2 was slower than the stall speed of a German fighter plane, making it hard to engage from the air. And so they said the biplanes also could take off and land almost anywhere. It must have been scary, Carrie. My God. So they were known because you would hear a whoosh, and then next minute, boom. So people were terrified the minute they heard that swooshing like a broom through the air, because they knew the minute they heard that, the shit was going to blow up. So yeah. So I'm not know if I'm going to say her name right, but I'm just going to say Miss Popova, one of the most famous night witches, once returned from a sortie. This is what they were called, with 42 bullet holes. 42 in her plane, as well as in her helmet and map. It's just, and another pilot lost the bottom of her plane to enemy fire, but kept on flying. I mean, these women, God almighty. So yeah, those were the women I wanted to talk about today, especially Lori. Please look up Lori. Let's not forget Lori Ann Piestewa. Every time I see her picture, my heart just breaks, and I don't know why. I just feel some sort of that energetic connection or bond with her. It's just is heartbreaking, because maybe I was living in Arizona at the time. I was driving home from work when I heard the announcement that Junior started the war. And so, but yeah. All righty. Let's see. Jan said, my mother was in the very first group of waves sworn in to join the Navy in World War II. Jan. Very cool. Wow. If mom's still around, thank her. I thank her as well. All of our family members. I think my grandfather, Grandpa Jacobs, I think he was World War I. I know Grandpa Johnson was a drummer boy for World War II, if I remember correctly. It's hard for me to be able to remember because our families, stopped talking. I was kind of kicked out of the family, so I don't have a lot of information. The Germans used to put horns on their bombers that sound that you associate them with. Diving bomb is a horn. So yeah, a lot of tactics, like with the Morgan, the screaming. Sometimes it's just the blood curdling screaming, and the crows raving, and the ravens raving, the ravens raving, calling everything that would put fear into fighters. They would do their women too, all their faces up in makeup, screaming. I mean, a lot of times that's how you got the upper hand in battles. Come out screaming and blood curdling, and put the fear in the hearts of thy enemy. I wish we had some of that too, for the fear of put the fear in the hearts of our current enemies. So, but anyway, I digress. Let's see. No matter where, any woman would fight if they want to and if they have to. Yep. All our ancestors, all the women, all the way back in the day. And they're even uncovering graves over the years that showed women warriors buried with their horses and their swords. So that's really amazing. Jan says, my mom met my dad in Pearl Harbor. Wow. That's one place I could never go to. I have like a fear of, I love water, but deep water and seeing anything that's a wreckage. I've seen like aerial views and I would not be able to. It would be terrifying. People, soldiers that want to fight for their country, extremely brave. It's amazing to experience something like that and then fly again. Nerves of steel. You better believe it. So your mom passed. Okay, my father was in the Navy, but they met in Pearl Harbor. My sister was in the Navy. I was in the Navy. Oh my God, so you got a family. So Jan, my fellow's a Seabee. A lot of people, they don't get the recognition they deserve. Seabees are an extension of the Navy, as you know. And my brother was in the Coast Guard. My sister's first husband, Michael, he was in the Coast Guard as well. So, wow. And Allison Spo was in the Navy as well. Let's see. Absolutely. Rosie River. She's, also part of our what do you call that? When they're part of a culture. Well, she's a part of American culture, pop culture. I don't know if I want to say pop culture. Earlier this morning, I was watching a reel from a witch who's a Lilith devotee, and she told her dream she had the other night, and it was deep. If you want, I can tell you her dream she had. Now, is this somebody on YouTube, Shelby, that you can put the link into the chat, and we can watch it later if you don't mind, unless it's really short. I don't mind either way. Let's see. Your dad was a Seabee. Yes. The Fighting Bees. I have a black belt in Tansudu. Oh, wow. Girl, don't want to meet you in the dark alley. I pity the fool. My mom was an aviation bellsmith, and my father was a Seabee. Very cool. And let's see. Yeah, Irene, it's a little graphic as in psychologically. She stared in this long, dark corridor where she went to this room. The room was big, but the biggest part was the high ceiling where she's on Instagram. Yeah, go ahead. And then I know Jax will be able to highlight that, and she can just text it to me later. And I'll go watch it because I'm mostly on Instagram. I joined Threads. It's okay, but I try to avoid as much social media, but I do the Instagram. Don't start nothing. You can't. Yep. Mm-hmm. Silky, my ex-father-in-law was a Seabee and then just retired from State Department. He has served his entire adult life. Wow. Oh, a lot of people in our families. Man, I don't know if I could have done that. Well, when I was younger, no, I wouldn't be able to. I would have been accepted because of my certain health things. But yeah, that's amazing that people can do that. So, yes, on this Memorial Day, we remember all the kick-ass women, men as well, but for this show here, all the women. Your mother was a aviation metalsmith. That is super sick. Yeah. So, alrighty. As always, I'll open up the floor. What I brought today is I did bring my Call of the Morrigan Oracle because it felt like she wanted to come, that there might be a reading that one of her cards would be needed for. I also brought my Obsidian Veil with me as well. And that's by Vixen. So it's got like women from history, goddesses. I know I haven't used this in a while. So it has like Bridget Bishop in here, Rodney, the nymphs, Nyx. So we got all different women from history right here. Let's see. So let me back. And also for the tarot aspect, for the tarot parts of the readings, I've got my Jeremy Hush. Jeremy was calling to me today, especially with all the women with their swords and fighting in there. I thought it was perfect for today. And so, gotcha, Jan. Let me go up and I think I might have missed a couple of comments. I'm proud of all the people who have recently applied to our armed forces. 44,000 applications. Wow. There's no way I could. You can't have anxiety and serve. It's not going to work. Yeah, you have to have, that steel, So it says dreams I had with Lilith. I'll have to share that with Kristen Louise too, because she's worked with Lilith in the past. All righty. So we did have a request. So let's see. Actually, I'm going to go with the Morrigan. I'm a little partial to her, but when I looked at both decks for Jan, it just said Morrigan. So here, I think maybe too, because being a warrior and stuff, and her being the goddess of battle and strategy. All righty. So Jan, hi Julie. Julie said me. Gotcha, girl. All righty. So for Jan, Marigna, Great Queen, Queen of Battle, Strategy, Prophecy, Sovereignty, Message. All righty. Okay, and thank you for reminding me. I missed the caboose. So let me, I always refer Jack, so I'll know she's there. I don't have to highlight. All righty. And after the show, I have a fun announcement for a new show coming up with another fellow reader and artist. I've been excited to announce, and also Shelby will be joining Jonathan and I this Friday for another live painting session. So be there or be square. All righty. So let me grab my book. Well, actually, I don't need to grab my book because this is straightforward. You got the card for tribe. I'm looking at your tarot. So we got wands going on here. We got fire. So yeah. Well, this makes sense, Jan. You were a metalsmith, so we got the fire. So here we have the tribe coming together, the group of women, people celebrating all around. So this is the battle has been won, and they're all coming together to celebrate the winning of the battle. Those who had, they remember and honor those that had fallen. And we have this beautiful fire. The Morrigan is in there, and it's basically reminding us our tribe doesn't necessarily have is people in our lives, whether family, friends, people that we connect to in the community. Even here on YouTube, this is our tribe. This is those that come together and we celebrate those victories and how we are basically how our soul is forged in the fire. So this to me is acknowledging, wow, Jan. So on this day, with all your family being in the service and with you as well, a lot of this feels like ancestors coming forward, the women connecting, and here's that fire, the metal smithing. It's the tribe celebrating the victories, and celebrating together with your tribe, with the community, with your loved ones. So love that. And I'm going to actually grab my book because I think there might be another message. But that's initially what I got right off of that. So what else does the Morgan want to say about this? Community connections, family. So there we go. So we do have, the families, this is all coming together. This tribe represents family and lifelong connections. It's the best. It is the people who love and understand us the best, whether they are blood relatives or family of the heart. This card signals a time of connection, a time to build and nourish the bonds of friendship and family. It also asks you to consider who your tribe is. It is time to connect to others in meaningful ways. There's a question connected to this with the card as well. It said, family is what we make of it. Some of us have family of blood, others family of choice. Who do you share your fire with? Who do you celebrate with and hold dear? So that's the divine feminine message coming for you from the Morgan. And let's see what additional cards so that we have here. So we're going to start with what's rooted. This was a beautiful spread that I had learned. Basic 3 card. I'm turning to 2 right now because I'm making the oracle, basically the significator. So Lori from Craigie Brook Witchery had done a spread where the surface, and then what's below the surface, what's rooted. So what is rooted? What is below the surface in this reading is the King of Wands. And so these cards, this reading is rooted in now it's not the swords, this is going to be the wands. But this is, again, about being able to command, to inspire, to motivate, especially when it comes to creativity, but also motivating getting people's fires going, getting them. So it's but being able to direct that from a place of stability, of connection. So this is an individual who's well grounded, and they're able to direct that fire in a very mature and grounded way, responsibly. So this is you connecting, I think, with that energy of a family, but that's within you, those generations, those ancestors, but them acknowledging too that, and this bird has this beautiful thread. And so we are threading a new life story. You're being inspired to create, to thread, to weave something brand new. And you're doing it from a place of being grounded and from a place of fire and creativity, and being able to safely direct and guide that energy. So your top card, the 4 of Wands, my dear. So there's the surface, there's the family celebration, celebrating, rejoicing, foundations is also. So for me, this is a beautiful reading. I feel, Jan, flowers from your ancestors, your family, who served, who you still what's the word? That still live. They still live on through you. You remember them. I don't know if you have a ancestral altar to your family, but with all the warriors and warrioresses that are in your family, and that you're connected to, because again, not necessarily blood, but you know, people that you have met, your family connected with, and created those close bonds when in the military. So, yeah, I love this. It's a beautiful celebration. It's a bouquet. It's an acknowledgement. And with that King of Wands again, something that's below the surface that's really being rooted is maybe they're just maybe reminding you that to move forward. I don't know if you're planning on doing something or wanting to expand on something, knowing that being grounded, being rooted in the earth, but not being afraid to weave a new tale, being, you know, taking that inspiration, that motivation, um, that dynamics. What's the word? Not dynamics. Um, oh, I can't think of the word. That charisma. So beautiful ring to me. Let's see what we got. I got to take a sip, and it is getting really windy outside, so I'm sure Shan must be bringing in my oil pastels so they'll get covered in dust and dirt. Oh, girl, I'm all tacoed out. So let's go up. Let's see what I missed. You all are my tribe. Let's see. I'm going to go. Oh, sorry I didn't get to say goodbye, Carrie, but thank you for being here. Let's see. Hi to Julie. So here we go. I still want to do a collab. Yep. All my artist friends, readers, I'm planning to do a lot more with my art. And I no longer do the Friday night show, Jan. Just so many other channels going on at the same time. I really wasn't getting a lot of traffic, so I moved my Friday show to Saturday night. So we'll have to do a Saturday night. Ooh, lots of different media. Very cool. I was an electronics technician. My mother was the smellsmith. Wow. Good Lord. And that's my cat. Shan came in, had to go do his business, and now my kitty cat's not happy that the door is closed. Let's see. I have some blood family that's family, and I have more people that are family that aren't family. I hear you. I hear you, my dear. I'm 3 degrees of Aries. I'm Aries rising. And of course, we got Allison. She's Aries. So lots of fire. Well, I'm a Saggy too, so lots of fire. Shelby's back. Let's see. Oh, be quiet, Mozzie. Let's see. Stability. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Heather. You're welcome, my dear. I keep a box of family pictures on the desk where I read tarot. I went and made a little altar of what pictures I do have, which isn't a whole lot, but just items too of family members that, you know, deserve to be up there, you know. And I learned all about that actually from Allison. I hadn't heard of ancestor altars until I met Allison. So everyone's saying, what, tacos? We're not keeping up with that again. We all know what happened Saturday. Oh, too allergic. Okay, yep, here, kitty. Let's see. I am a mere 1 degree Aries, although my Venus is well placed in Aries. So you're Aries. You got the Aries vibe going on. All righty. So let me take Janet down and Julie. Oh, I'm going right for this deck. Put you aside there. Now I know why the Morgan wanted to come. See? When Namarigna tells you to do something, you do it. She said, keep that deck here. Bring that deck to the show. And I'm like, okay. I got my card from her for today. So we are connecting with Julie. Alrighty, so let's go with Jeremy. I'm gonna have to keep Jeremy's book because I love reading what Jeremy writes for his cards with his art. I may even revisit Janet's, especially with the quartz. He can be quite fascinating. Okay. So I always grab Vixen's book because it's hard to retain a lot of these. And then he doesn't do these alphabetically. So Julie, you got the nymphs, which is 117. So let's take a quick see look here. Elixir of Vitality. And my book is coming apart. Oh, right on the nymphs. Oh, goodness. Okay. So Greek mythology, nymphs were believed to inhabit forests, meadows, rivers, and other natural settings. They were associated with the protection and preservation of these environments, often serving as guardians and caretakers of the natural world. Let's see. Their story represents balance between humans and nature, reminding how interconnectedness and interdependence of all living beings are. We destroy the planet, we destroy ourselves. It's a no-brainer right there. So they're here to remind of the inherent vitality within you. Just as the nymphs dance through forests and frolic in meadows, you are encouraged to embrace your own vitality and zest for life. So it's telling you to tap in that wellspring of energy, my dear, to guide you on your path. I'm looking to see if anything else jumps out. Making sure that you nurture your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Taking care of your body through exercise. Oh, wow, that breeze really is. Wow, guys, we've got quite a storm moving in. I don't know if y'all can hear that. So take care of your body through exercise, nourishing foods, and restful sleep. Engage in activities that bring you peace and fulfillment. Harness your inner vigor and let your radiant energy illuminate your path. So she's reminding you to take, just like we need to take care of the earth and everything on it, including our food sources and whatnot. She's also acknowledging that you must do the same. And there she is. The artwork is beautiful. And again, on the front says, Guardian of the Wild. I bathe in the beauty of life. The print small. I bathe in the beauty of the earth, life, and vitality. Okay, so important message for that. Because your surface card, your energy right now is the Tower. And of course, the Tower is structures are falling apart. Things are falling apart and coming down. Sometimes whether we like it or not. I think following your channel and knowing some of your story, that this is something that is intentional. That this Tower is you looking at breaking down the foundations and rebuilding something for yourself. What was the past? What was the original Tower? That rubble is no longer your story, and you're rewriting a new one. I mean, you're a writer, you have your books, but really rewriting, rebuilding, restructuring yourself from, that dark, heavy past that you've shared with me in the past. Now, your underlying energy, what's rooted, I do have is the Six of Swords. Now, in this deck, it's not a calm, serene, cross, to the other side. In this deck, as you're moving across, you're doing it with kind of like the night witches, with, something that's barely, flyable, something that's barely floatable. You are crossing with what you feel like is half a boat, hoping that you'll get across before taking on water and becoming lunch for these piranhas. We don't want to be lunch for the piranhas. So there's this underlying feeling of I'm moving across, I'm moving away, so we can look at these piranhas being the past. And even though your ship is only half there, you're still afloat and you are still making the trip. And that's what I have for you, my dear. Wow. That is insane. All right, time for a sip. Irene says it's 555. It was 255 here. All righty, so next, wait a minute, no, I think, so it is most definitely the tower. And just gotta believe now that we can make it across. So Janet says, I'm starving. Oh, thanks for coming in, Janet. I mean, not Janet. Well, Jan. It's really been windy here all day, too. Yep. Oh, Aries girl, you were born on the 23rd. I'm a 1960 metal rat. I'm a metal dog. Metallica. Just had to throw that in there. Most definitely the energy. Wow. Thank you. You're welcome. All right. On to the next. And that would be Shelby. All righty. Obsidian Veil. Yep, on IG, posted a couple of oil pastels that I'm working on. I still have to post the brand new one that I just finished, the bigger one, which Tom, by the way, saw a lot of interesting things in it. And y'all, if you missed Saturday night, Tom said that he didn't leave because he felt like he was being made fun of or picked on. He says him and, when he sat down to dinner, him and Sam started watching a TV show, and he goes, that's why he didn't come back. So if I got the time and energy, I don't know, Irene. All righty. Yeah, Allison's how many months older than me? Let's see. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So she's roughly around 9 months older than me. 8 or 9. Be cool if it was considered actually 8. That's my life path number. But anyway, we're talking about Shelby now. Don't know which way to turn, spinning. Girl, get grounded. Dig those toes into the earth. Bend over, crouch, put your fingers in the ground, and just let out a primal scream. 9 months. Woo! Same time for pregnancy. 9 months. Okay, back to Shelby. Focusing on Shelby. Oh, talk about spinning. Alrighty. Woo. Now this is cool because Allison and I pulled cards one Friday night on this lady here. You've got Elizabeth Bathory. Okay. And Elizabeth. So I'm going to read the front of your card. Bathed in crimson secrets, I am the vessel of power unchecked. It's going to be your birthday in 2 days. Well, you did. We believed that you would. And look, you are here. So believe in yourself too, girl. So Elizabeth Bathory is a figure in history who was believed to have been, because she was a woman of power, of status, of money, and she had been accused of killing her servants and then bathing in their blood to stay youthful. And Allison and I were talking on our Friday night show. God, I think it's been over a year now since we talked about her. And I was like, you know what? I bet you that was just the BS, the bullshit back in the day because of women having power. Nobody liked that, especially the men. Click, click, click. So we decided to pull cards. And we were getting cards that said, this was made up. But we're going to look at Elizabeth as a reminder of what time period this actually was. Elizabeth, where are you? Elizabeth is number page 57. So she was known as the Sanguine Countess. So she was a countess. So Elizabeth Bathory, also known as the Blood Countess, was a Hungarian noblewoman born in 1560. It was alleged that Elizabeth engaged in sadistic acts, particularly against young girls and servant women. I hope not, because women are capable of doing that. Even in modern times, we continue to see, but I digress. She was accused of torturing and killing numerous victims, often bathing and even drinking their blood in the hopes of acquiring eternal youth. Oh, so her alleged actions eventually got her arrested. And because of her title, she was imprisoned within the walls of her castle. She lived her remainder of her days in solitary confinement until her death in 1614. So Elizabeth's history serves as a reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and privilege. Sound familiar, y'all? In the States? Yeah. Challenging us to face the consequences of our actions, both past and present. So the abuse with a so her tale is associated with abuse of power and cruelty. So it's also telling us to examine our own patterns of behavior or relationships that may be rooted in abusive dynamics. I can kind of see where this might be going, Shelby. Not to the extent of, what she's allegedly to have done, but when it comes to relationships and actions that that you are either allowing to perpetuate or you're fighting against, that either harms or allows others to mistreat you. So reflect on the consequences of your or others' actions and seek redemption for any harm caused. So this is a time for personal growth and the opportunity to make amends. So looking at your tarot cards, let's start with the root. Let's work from the root and to the surface. So your root energy is the Four of Cups. And the way Jeremy words it in his book is, life feels like it's become a dried up husk. That, there's nothing that is emotionally, you feel like nothing is emotionally supporting you. The cups have basically all gone dry. We don't see that other one that's being, handed to you. But I think that's because that's the internal one. You have to find that within yourself. Let's see what Jeremy said. I love Jeremy, and this is the deck that Uh, Allison and Ginger made me, I blame those two. They made me do it. And I'm glad that I did. I love this deck. So it's about apathy and doubting. So this abuse of oneself perpetuated by someone who is abusive to you, or this could be a person's institution, family, but there are this energy coming of sort of a persecution, of a torturing of abusive nature. And I see how that can lead one to feeling doubt, self-doubt about oneself. um, and so it says here, you see the world as a dried up husk with dull browns. Unmotivated by the current situation, you need to look deep within yourself to find understanding and meaning. And that's what he wrote, just like this card. You have to go within, find that sense of self, and tap into that, because now is the time for potential growth and being able to move forward. So, what feels like is keeping you from moving forward is that sense of apathy, of doubt, things feeling like you're not necessarily your inspiration is drying up because you have all this wonderful art, but it just feels like with cups, not just art wise, but being able to be emotionally available, like afraid of pushing yourself out emotionally, because the emotions get thrown back at you. Cups also about trying to be empathic and have empathy for people, which just gets thrown. So this current situation or environment, that you find yourself in, at times, or is starting to see that this is getting rooted, is starting to feel like, it's just things are drying up for you. And I think really this cup that's missing, I mean, there's no cups in here at all, but I think that that other cup is going to be coming from you, your own personal sense of self, of purpose, of compassion to have for yourself. Now, your top card, what's on the surface, is this ant. It's the wheel of fortune. And in the book, it talks about the ant is on the leaf. He's kind of spinning around a little bit, doesn't know which way to go, if he's going to make it to shore. So at this time, I can see how we're in the situation of the wheel. You have the ability to direct that wheel, in from what I'm seeing here in this reading. Um, how that wheel turns, how your fortune turns, how you get turned around is going to be, by you kind of digging in the heels and believing in yourself and being able to move forward. And that's what I have for you, my dear. Nothing really abusive, mostly suppressing is a form of abuse, especially if it can be extensive. Oh, yeah. I'll talk about the politics. Yep. Don't talk about, oh, I'm missing something. Okay. You're welcome, my dear. I mean, we have a lot of ants in my house now. But that ant is kind of on that leaf. Even Jeremy wrote, is kind of spinning around. Don't know, if he's going to get off of that, or which way is he going to fall off? Is he going to make it to shore? No reward without risk, though. And so everybody's talking. Okay, talking about life. Let's see. And less likely for women to do that sort of thing. But yes, absolutely happens. Unfortunately, yeah. Some of the things that I learned at our trafficking summit that mothers do to their own kids, it's just, yeah, depravity. And then you kind of have to look at it. How were they raised? Where did this come from? So much is based in trauma, from past generations, that sometimes that just becomes so diseased that you can't seem to, move from it. There are some that you can, some that you can't. Wheel of reality. Turn, turn, turn. Yeah. Oh, Annie Man. I was thinking of the song by the Birds. Um, when women turn rotten, they really turn rotten. Yeah. Let's see. Now I'm being presented with a lot of information with what's going on with the country right now. Ah, okay. So you're seeing the perspective on both sides. And yep. Well, you know that, Jax, because I'm taking care of Aster. So, alrighty. Last but not least. Oh no, wait a minute. Oh, we got Irene. And then we got the caboose. I don't have to worry about my stuff because I know Shan brought my stuff in for me. He was like, you should bring it in. I'm like, no, it'll be fine. And oh, I'm going for the Morgan. Okay. Well, my queen of battle. The great queen wants apparently a word with you, Irene. Oh boy. It was like I went to go pick up the obsidian veil and it was like, put that down. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. So I'm going to grab my book for the Morrigan. So you got the forgiveness card, Irene. So this is about making amends, being humble. So we have a little story time here. So let me show you your card. And that's an aspect of Nahamaritna, giving an offering of support, of forgiveness, trying to make amends. And this is the warrior Kukulin, who was basically her nemesis in her tales, in the Tains, the Tambos. So the Morrigan, in the guise of a hag, stands radiant with her milking cow. Kukulin sits on the ground, panting and exhausted from his battles. The hag offers him a drink of milk, but it's more than milk. It is healing, a healing between the two, one blessing the other and reconciling after their earlier battle. On the bowl, she offers the hero is the Oam Nagato, representing healing and restoration of wounds. The Morrigan promises to attack Kukulin in the form of an eel, a wolf, and a heifer, after he insults her. The hero promises to wound her as well and reminds her that he, as a demigod and the son of Lu, any wound he dealt could not be healed without his blessing. The Morrigan and the hero each make good on their promise, wounding one another. The Morrigan, disguised as an old woman, comes upon Kukulin after his battle at the river ford. The hero is exhausted, and after his battle at the river, the hero is exhausted and has a great thirst come upon him. Seeing that she is leading a milking cow, the hero begs her for a drink. She offers him 3 drinks of the milk, and with each drink, he offers her a blessing, which in turn heals each of the wounds he dealt to her earlier. So, Irene, can you see the basis of the story for you? Bye, girl. Thanks for popping in. Have a good rest of your day, sweetheart. So, Irene, do you see the irony? not to mean a pun. What is holding you back from your success? The sun, success, abundance, radiance. Well, I say radiance, but the sense of freedom, of success, fresh air, the sense of feeling free, being abundant, being happy, your joy. You'll have to think about it. The story makes me think of you and your daughter. And I'll leave it at that. Divinatory. So we're looking at the divinatory now. Forgiveness is not easy. Sometimes one party may need to extend the olive branch for there to be peace. The Morrigan has to trick Cuchulainn to begin the process of reconciliation, yet in the end, they bless one another. He heals her wounds, and she offers nourishment to ease the exhausted warrior. They still may not see eye to eye, but they have come to a place where they can stand and offer blessings to one another. When forgiveness appears, it signifies there is a rift in your life somewhere. Perhaps it is with family, friends, or a loved one. What can you do to begin the process of restoring trust and forgiveness? Or perhaps you are the one who needs forgiving. How can you make amends? It is never too late to heal old wounds. Looking at your tarot, the roots. So we're going to look at the surface now. And the surface is the 10 of Cups. And these are the herons. These are the herons. Cranes, herons. And they return to roost every year, to have babies, to give birth. So this is the card about joy, family, happiness. And this is what's on the surface. This is something that you are striving for. Now the sun is is the root of wanting this. The root is about, again, the happiness, the joy, the successes. This is the root. And at the center of it all, with that being the family card and you being able to move forward with that, there is forgiveness that needs to be addressed, making amends. And sometimes those other individuals may not want, but it's something that once you know that you have done, then can be that time to move on. Herons are special to me and my girls, really. Okay. Let me read the book then. 10 of Cups. The herons. It's about harmony. The heron is a bird of great wisdom. He is powerful in flight and purposeful in his stride. Content in their environment, herons take their time in their outlook on life. Every moment is to be enjoyed. So this is what we are looking for. We are looking for contentment, purpose. That's the root of the sun, with the sun card. But right there in the middle is the process of forgiveness. Yep. So this is something, again, like we read before, this is something that's going to have to be a lot decided on her and whatever her decisions are. Decisions, attitudes. Yeah. And I'll end it there, because we've had this conversation before. So So the cards are still just reflecting that. But the Morgan wanted me to make sure, no, you use my deck. I'm like, okay. Just out of curiosity. On the bottom of the deck, one of my favorite cards, Lady of Sovereignty. And this is taking back your sovereignty, taking back your power, your control over yourself, your body, your mind, everything. This is full on autonomy for yourself. So that was at the bottom of the deck. All righty, I'm going to take a sip, and then I'll get to the caboose. I know Jax is double dipping today. She'll be back. She'll be back. So, Obsidian Veil for Jax. I'm moving to an apartment on July 1st. That apartment. Yes. Is it still going to be, are you going where you wanted to go, or are you staying on the end of, on the side of Canada that you are, the eastern end? It's subsidized too. Okay. Nah, I'm just here. Nah, I'm just here. Thanks, girl. Yeah, Tom was right. Saturday night after the debacle. That was Saturday night. That was awesome. I decided, I was sitting outside. I'm like, I'll just see who might pop in and just sit and chat. And I went straight through YouTube. I didn't do StreamYard. And at one point I had like 20 people. And I'm like, sorry, guys, I'm just sitting here talking. I'm not doing readings. And then all of a sudden you see from 20 down to 2. I'm like, sorry. But no, I had people I haven't seen in a while. I got to see Saskia. She's from Greece. I got to see Jackie's Crystal Moon, and I saw Jackie Jacaranda. That was nice. I got to see Audra. Audra is heading for was she in Saturday night's show, regular show? Yeah, it was Saturday. She's heading into her competition. She's aiming for Olympics with her horse and arrow riding competition. So, yeah, it was good to see people I hadn't seen in a while. All righty. Rapunzel. Oops, sorry. Got some problems with Flighty today. Oh, body heat rash. Girl, one damn thing after the other with you. Ugh. I get a lawyer for that damn medical in your area. So, Rapunzel, drop down your hair. But you did get Rapunzel. And it says, a captive of my own prison, I gaze upon the world with longing. So that's interesting that this card acknowledges that Rapunzel thinks that she is captive in her own prison that she's created. Let's take a look-see. And ooh, girl, I'm getting warm. I hope I don't get a lower body rash. Maybe that's what I'm. But man, that wind is really kicking up out there, y'all. We got a storm moving in. I don't know how those guys are playing basketball without the wind blowing in all over. Oh, well, I guess Heather's done doing oil pastels out there today. So, Rapunzel, where are you? One of these days, I really need to mark on the back of these cards what page they're on. There she is on 113. We're supposed to drop like 15, 20 degrees tomorrow. We'll see, because we're supposed to get rain. We really do need the rain. Here comes the rain again, falling on my head like a memory. So, Rapunzel, unraveling boundaries. In the original tale, a young girl named Rapunzel is locked away in a tower by a witch. Of course. The witch, who desires Rapunzel's long and magical hair, uses her as a tool for her own purposes. A tool. Rapunzel is deprived of freedom and contact with the outside world, forced to live a secluded life in the tower. Rapunzel's captivity represents the suppression of one's individuality and autonomy. It also symbolizes the manipulation and exploitation that can occur in relationships, where one person seeks to dominate the other, making them feel small and isolated from the rest of the world. So Rapunzel's story serves as a reminder of your autonomy to protect your personal space and establish limits in relationships. I call Jason the warden. Yeah, I figured that's where it was going to go. Well, Rapunzel ultimately stands up for herself and finds her own voice. You are encouraged to communicate your needs, express your feelings, and protect your personal space. Remember, you deserve to be surrounded by people who respect and honor your autonomy. Alrighty. Well, where do I start? Top, bottom. So it's interesting. So the ground, the root, what's below the surface. We have the magician, my dear. And this is about reconnecting that wild aspect of ourselves to our higher self, our intuition, connecting with our instincts, acknowledging the wisdom that we have. And let's also see what else Jeremy shares. Instinct, reasoning, and cunning. So this is a time to be cunning. Oh, High Priestess sits between light and dark, her wisdom balanced, eyes and ears attuned to what is hidden below the surface. And this is the surface card, girl. That's interesting. She possesses a keen sense of intuition and the ability to discern right from wrong. Her wisdom extends beyond what is pleasing to others. She is draped and adorned in fineries. Oh, no, wait a minute. I'm reading the High Priestess. Oopsie. I always see her as a High Priestess. Magician. Ingenuity, proficiency, and effort. Okay, so this card represents the balance between the wild and the inner and the calm of the aligned mind. Yes. Wolf, while early hunter-gatherers were equipped with hands to wield tools, the wolf was armed with enhanced senses, so they worked together. One relied, one helped, like the wolf would help them hunt. They knew that whatever was killed, they would be able to take part. So it's about our skills advance each other. So the magician has the fortitude to bridge that relationship. Rediscover those forgotten powers, girl. But also, I was thinking that was the High Priestess. So yes, tap into that wisdom of the High Priestess, that inner knowing. Manifest the power to help, not hinder. So yep. Girl, your top card is the Five of Cups. So again, continuing forward with this energy, the sadness, the depression, the feeling of probably is this ever going to end? I hate when I keep getting this card for you, my dear. Because you deserve better. And so right now, below the surface, what is rooted is basically taking your power back, working with those that can help, that have keener senses, that can help you help yourself, and in return, you can help them. Basically, you have the power to unlock that tower Rapunzel's in. And on the surface right now, just having to move through the sadness, the depression, the pain, and the hurt that you're going through right now. Yeah. I'm so sorry, hon. Times when I wish I had a magic wand to make everything better for people. We are done with Kathy. Awesome. I got to go to lead Esther through a lot of stuff now for the path to proper adulting. I hate to micromanage, but it's important stuff. And you need to micro. You don't need to macro anything right now. You got to take care of yourself. But I got her birth certificate and SS card. That solves a lot. Yay. Wonderful. We are done with Kathy. Well, that card too is making me think too, making sure that you're processing through those emotions, that there is somebody somewhere that you can talk to that's professional, or does a sliding fee scale at least maybe once, even if it's once a month or once every week or every other week or something, to be able to process those emotions so that you're not constantly suppressing them and keeping them in, that you're able to release those. I thought she'd resist. Awesome. No, we can't. It's still a cage. And at some point, you'll be able to manifest that key. Alrighty, y'all. An hour and a half. It says 3:33 my time. So very cool. So yeah, an hour and a half. That's usually when I have the energy. So I noticed a lot of people had to drop out. So thank you, everybody. And for my little announcement, and I'll be announcing this from during my shows from time to time until it comes up. Let me just take this down. I got together for the backstage with Lori, Craigie Brooke Witchery. If you remember, she joined Jonathan and I for our live painting session last month. And her and I are going to be doing a show. So we'll wait till we get there. The shows we're going to be focusing on an artist. And so this is going to be Georgia O'Keeffe. And we also want you to think about colors, words, images, things that come to your mind when you maybe think of Georgia, or on that day making a list. And what day is that? Her and I are going to be doing our first show. I believe is going to be Friday, June 12th. And that's going to be noon my time, which will make it 3 p.m. Eastern. And for her in Atlantic time will be 4 o'clock. And so her and I will be doing our own artwork, like Jonathan and I do. And this is all going to be, we'll bring, what we're bringing, like with Georgia and with certain things, but this is going to be chat involvement. So stay tuned. I'm excited to have this new show. And let's see, today is Monday. I'll probably try to do a pop-up sometime. Definitely not Wednesday. I doubt, because I got like 3 things going on Wednesday. Jonathan and I will be back Friday for our own live painting session. And that will be 2 p.m. My time and 5 p.m. for the East Coast, which will make it, I think, 11 a.m. for Jonathan, Hawaiian time. And then Kristen Louise will be joining me for full moon, blue moon readings on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to be a Saturday night full moon doubleheader that night with the both of us. So, all righty, everybody, thank you again for watching. Again, thank you to all the men and women who have served. And so, guess they made it back to say goodbye. All this talk of tacos, I made a taco salad. Enjoy. Yeah, I gotta make something soon. I'm getting an upset stomach from not eating. Jackie B and Julie are on at 7 p.m. tonight. I'll try to drop by and say, I was gonna say hell yeah, but no, see if I could drop by and say hi. Oh, you're welcome, Shelby. Everyone, have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you on the next show or in the next chat. Bye, y'all.